What the fuck are these men on Love Island UK? No wonder marriage and birth rates are on the decline. What the fuck is this? To start off with, we met the girls and they're all stunning. There's something about Shakira that I just don't like. I don't know what it is. It's not because she's really confident or anything. I just don't know. Alima is from Glasgow, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's two contestants that are Irish, as far as I remember. I was talking to my pal last night when it was on, so I've kind of forgot. And so far, there's no Welsh people. And I think that when you've got a reality TV show like this, or Big Brother or anything, there should always be at least one person for each country in the UK, because it's just always English people, and it drives me insane. I have noticed over the past few years that there has been maybe at least one or two people for Ireland and Scotland, but you hardly ever get anybody for Wales. And I know that they're looking for the best contestants, but surely to God there must be one Welsh person that they could have put in here. Surely to God there's a Welsh person that's better than the fucking shit they've got on there now. I know I've not gave them much of a chance, but last night I was absolutely fucking gobsmacked. As you know, usually they bring out the girls, they bring out the boys, and then the girls will be like, oh, I like him, and go and stand next to him, or go and kiss him or whatever. But this time, they showed them like a little dating profile thing to read, and then they had to choose them before they even got to see them, which I thought was pretty interesting. The first profile that they read was Ben, and he's a taxi driver, and Meg was like, oh, I don't know about that. That's like a dad job. At least he's fucking got a job. What's wrong with people? The only time I've ever even went out on a date with somebody and thought anything about their job is when they says they worked in an abattoir, and I was like, that's not for me. Thanks, nice to meet you, bye. But again, at least the guy had a job. Dijon said something about doing something hard, doing this hard, doing that hard, and instantly I thought, no. The next one was Harry, and it said what his job was, and they were like, oh, that's like a 9 to 5. And Shakira was like, oh no, I'm not really into a 9 to 5. So I'm like, right, okay, they can't have a 9 to 5 and they can't be taxi drivers. What the fuck do you want? Next was Connor's, and he says it was a rugby player, and one of the girls specifically was like, I don't want a rugby player. Understandable. I've dated a rugby player myself, and I fucking hate lad mentality. So it is understandable, but everybody's different. Then we had Blues, and it says he was a project manager, and they're like, well, it sounds a bit boring, but he sounds like a hard worker. Why the fuck does it matter what these people's jobs are? And then we had Tommy, who was half Italian. So the girls hadn't seen any of these boys, they were just reading a tiny wee hat, and they had to go and stand behind them. So it was like they all chose a different one, but Helena went and stood behind the rugby player one, and then she was kind of trying to swap with Sophie, but she's like, oh, we'll decide later, right? So then the boys came out. Ben came out first. He was paired up with Shakira, and she nearly pissed her pants with excitement. He's 6'3", really tanned. Obviously, I don't fancy him doing this show because, like, I'm double their age. But I can see that he's, like, an alright looking guy. When he was doing his VT and he was like, oh, I'm a bit cheeky. Instant points lost. Instant points lost. No. But Shakira was absolutely loving life. Next was Dijon. He's paired up with Meg and he's a personal trainer. He came out and he was licking his lips. I was like, fucking the bloke, right? Why do people keep licking their lips? Do you want me to buy you some lip balm? He says he's a personal trainer, and he says some of his older clients have been really forward with him and says that they want to see him naked. And he went on, I've made some of their wishes come true. He also says, oh, I've never been knocked back. Highly doubtful, but okay. Now, I'm not saying that he's not an attractive guy, but for somebody to say they have never been knocked back, I don't believe it. I felt like Meg was looking at him as if she wasn't interested in him, but later when she was talking and that, she says that she was, but it was just like, I don't know, maybe she just get like a resting bitch face like me. Harry was paired up with Sophie and he came out and went, hello, hello, and I was like, instant points off, right? At least they didn't go, oi, oi. As soon as somebody says oi, oi, they can get to fuck. Helena ended up paired up with Connor, who's a rugby player. She specifically says that she didn't want a rugby player. But he's like, oh, I've been with all these good-looking women and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, cool story. Alima was paired up with Blue. This guy's a complete fucking dick. I didn't like his attitude. I didn't like the way he carried himself. I didn't like even one thing about him. He came out and he looked at Alima and he was like, oh, all the girls are really beautiful. Didn't even comment like specifically on her. It was just like, oh, all the girls are beautiful, being rude as fuck. He says wherever it was he was born, and then he grew up in Spain, and his mum owns a sex shop and he gets all his sex shop stuff for free. Great. I don't know if it was him, but one of them said something like, at one point I had a football team on the go, like they were going with 11 girls, right? And I thought, the women come on and they say, oh, I've been single for 4 years, or haven't kissed anybody for ages, or I've been ghosted so many times, or I haven't like so many guys but I'm ready to settle down. But all these guys are coming on and they're like, oh, I've went with so many women with great bodies, I've went with all these worldies, and they just talk absolute fucking shit. And it's like sitting listening to wee first year boys, see like wee virgins, they're like that, oh, I did this, I did that, and they've got no clue what they're talking about. That's what this is like witnessing. It's fucking embarrassing. These are supposed to be grown men. And they're like, oh, I've been with X amount of women and nobody's ever knocked me back and I sleep with my client. And what? You're here to find love, get to fuck. Do you know what? It's absolute fucking skis bags. I am so glad that I was young and hot when I was, because if this is what women have got to put up with, no wonder fucking depression is on the incline. Megan is paired up with Tommy and he comes out and goes, oi oi! Instantly I was like, ah, fuck off. Fuck off. I can't stand lad mentality. He's a mummy's boy. It's alright to be close to your mum, but there's a certain degree being a mummy's boy that's too far. Again, he's like lad mentality, like cheeky chappy. Absolutely not. What I will say is though, he does seem like a nice guy, and his partner seems really happy, like the two of them really like each other by the looks of it. The boys and girls split up as they do and they go and they have their wee chats. Alima is not happy that Blue came out and said, oh, all the girls are beautiful. She says they're all beautiful, but why specifically didn't he say anything about me or commenting about me? And later her and Blue were sitting having a chat and she was like, oh, what do you think? And he says, oh, I'm going to be honest, on paper you're not my type. She should have said, oh, thank God, because when you walked out I thought, oh shit, I've fucked up here. I'm glad we're on the same page. The only thing that I will say about Alima is, I play with my hair a lot, right? But when she was talking to that guy, she was constantly doing that, like with both sides of her hair, and it was annoying me, but it was probably nerves and it was probably the heat. I mean, she's out there in the sun with her hair down. Helena was saying that she wasn't really into Connor, she thought that he might be boring, but she hadn't even spoke to him at this point, and later they went and had a chat, and then she was in the diary room and she's saying, I think he's like quite a nice guy. Sophie was speaking to Harry, and she's a motivational speaker and an author, and she's a girl who was in a fire accident years ago, and funnily enough, just before I found out that she was on Love Island, I seen the video aired doing the fire eating, and apparently the air conditioning was up too high, and like her whole face went on fire, and she ended up with like some sort of growth here, like a tumour, and she had it removed. And I seen somebody saying, oh, they've got somebody in the show that's got like a defect or like something wrong with her face. She's fucking stunning still. So her partner was like, oh, she seems really nice, she might be a bit much for me. Why? Because she's a successful woman. When Tommy was talking to Megan, she's half Italian or something Italian as well, and he's like, oh, my mum's going to be really pleased. When he was talking to her, he was saying, oh, I'm a bit of a geezer. Do women sit and think, oh my god, do you know what my type is? Like, I totally just love, like, a geezer. So at first I thought Meg didn't like Dijon, but when they were sitting having a chat, and she was like, oh, I'm really happy, and like, he actually does seem like a really nice guy, even though I ripped him to bits at the start. So they get a text, they go to the fire pit, and they bring in the bombshell Tony. She's for Las Vegas, and she's got to pick somebody straight away. She stole Ben from Shakira, and now Shakira's at risk, so she's got 24 hours to steal a boy from another islander, and I think that she might steal Blue for Alima. They were saying that she's the first American contestant they've had on Love Island UK, which is crazy because in all the other Love Islands they're bringing people in from every fucking country. Let me know what you thought of last night's episode. Who do you like? Who do you not like? Right now I don't like any of the boys apart from Dijon. And I like pretty much all of the girls apart from Shakira. I've got no idea why. But I'll see you again tonight. Bye!